Captain Lee Taemin checked his weapon one last time. The metal felt cold in his hands. Around him, his team was getting ready for the mission. They had trained for weeks to attack this place. Nexus 7 was not just any space station. It was a black market where bad people sold other living beings like things. The station looked peaceful from the outside. Ships came and went like it was a normal trading post. But Taemin knew what really happened inside. For 3 years, he had been hunting these criminals. They took people from their homes and sold them to rich buyers across the galaxy. "Captain, we are ready," said Sergeant Kim Dong-hyun. He was a good soldier who had been with Taemin for 2 years. The sergeant's face was calm, but his eyes showed anger. All of them hated what they were about to see. Tae-min looked at his team, 5 humans, all volunteers. They could have had safe jobs on Earth. Instead, they chose to fight against slavery in space. Remember, save lives first, evidence second. Do not let anyone escape who runs the place. Their ship moved closer to the station. It looked like a normal cargo vessel. The station guards would not know what was coming until it was too late. Taemin had spent months planning this attack. He knew every corridor, every room, every exit. The docking went smooth. Their fake papers worked perfectly. As soon as they were inside, the team split up. Each person had a job to do. Taemin went toward the holding area where the captives were kept. The station's inside was dirty and smelled bad. Water dripped from broken pipes. The lights were dim and flickered. This was not a place for normal trading. It was a place where terrible things happened. Tae-min moved through the hallways. His boots made no sound on the metal floor. He had learned to be very quiet during his years as a soldier. Behind him, he could hear his team starting their work. Soon alarms would ring. He reached the first holding area. Inside were 6 beings from different worlds. They looked sick and scared. When they saw him, some tried to hide. Others just stared with empty eyes. "I am here to help," Taemin said in the common galaxy language. "We are getting you out." Some of the captives did not believe him. They had heard promises before. But when Taemin opened their cages without asking for anything, they started to hope. He moved to the next area. This was where they kept the special captives. These were beings who cost more money because they were rare or had special abilities. The security here was stronger. Tae-min had to fight 2 guards. He did it quickly and quietly. The guards would wake up later with bad headaches, but they would live. Taemin only killed when he had no choice. The room beyond had smaller cages. The conditions here were even worse. In the corner, almost hidden in shadow, was a cage that made Taemin stop breathing. Inside was a female being unlike any he had seen before. Her skin was blue like deep ocean water. Silver lines ran across her arms and face in beautiful patterns. Her hair was white and seemed to glow with soft light. But her large violet eyes held pain that made Taemin's heart hurt. She was very thin. Too thin. Her clothes were torn and dirty. When she saw him, she moved to the back of her cage and made herself as small as possible. "Hello," Taemin said softly. He kept his voice gentle. "I will not hurt you. I want to help." The being did not answer. She just watched him with those sad violet eyes. Taemin could see intelligence there, and fear, and something that looked like broken hope. He looked at the cage lock. It was electronic and very strong. Taemin used a special tool to break it. The cage door opened with a soft click. "You are free," he said. "Come with me. I will take you somewhere safe." The being did not move. She looked at the open door like it might be a trap. Taemin understood. After being caged for so long, freedom might seem impossible. "My name is Taemin," he said. "I am human. We fight against people who cage others. You do not have to stay here anymore." Still, she did not move. But something in her eyes changed. The fear was still there, but now there was a tiny bit of curiosity. Alarms started ringing through the station. His team had been found. They needed to move fast now. "Please," Taemin said. "We do not have much time. The bad people will come soon. I want to get you away from here." The being looked at him for a long moment. Then, very slowly, she moved toward the cage door. Her movements were careful and painful. Taemin could see that someone had hurt her badly. When she stepped out of the cage, she was taller than he expected. Even weak and hurt, she moved with natural grace. The silver patterns on her skin glowed a little brighter, as if responding to her emotions. "Can you walk?" Taemin asked. She nodded once. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was like soft music. Yes, more alarms rang. Taemin heard fighting in other parts of the station. His team was working hard to free everyone they could find. "Stay close to me," Taemin said. He moved toward the door, checking to make sure she followed. She did, but she kept distance between them. She trusted him enough to follow, but not enough to feel safe. They moved through the corridors together. Taemin had to fight 3 more guards on the way to their ship, each time the blue-skinned being watched with surprise. She seemed shocked that he fought to protect her instead of using her. As a shield, they reached the docking bay where their ship waited. The rest of his team was already there with 23 other freed captives. It was a good rescue, but Taemin knew they could not save everyone today. "Everyone on the ship," he ordered. "We leave now." As their ship pulled away from the station, Taemin looked back at the blue-skinned being. She sat apart from the others, still watching everything with careful eyes. She had not told him her name. She had barely spoken at all, but she was free now. That was what mattered. Taemin promised himself that he would make sure she stayed free. He would make sure she never had to be afraid again. The ship jumped to hyperspace, taking them all toward safety, but Taemin kept thinking about those violet eyes and the pain he saw in them. Saving her from the cage was just the beginning. Now came the harder job of helping her learn to live again. The ship arrived at Earth's moon colony 3 days later. During the trip, the blue-skinned being had not spoken to anyone. She ate very little food and slept in short periods, always watching for danger. Taemin tried to talk to her several times, but she only nodded or shook her head in response. When they landed, most of the rescued beings went to the main rehabilitation center. It was a good place with doctors and counselors who helped freed captives. But Taemin made a different choice for the blue-skinned woman. "I want to take her to my private facility," he told his commanding officer over the communication system. "That is not normal procedure, Captain," came the reply. "She needs special care," Taemin said. "The trauma is very deep. She needs time and quiet before she can handle a busy center." His commanding officer thought about it. Taemin had a good record. His private facility had helped other difficult cases before. Approved. But Dr. Park Hyjin must examine her first. Dr. Park. Hyjin was waiting when they arrived. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. She studied alien biology and helped traumatized beings heal from terrible experiences. "Hello," Dr. Hyjin said to the blue-skinned woman. "I am a doctor. I want to make sure you are healthy. Is that okay?" The woman looked at Taemin, then back at the doctor. After a long moment, she nodded. The medical examination took 2 hours. Dr. Hyjin was very careful and explained everything before she did it. The woman allowed the tests, but her body stayed tense the whole time. "She is malnourished," Dr. Hyjin told Taemin later. "She has old injuries that healed badly. Someone broke her left arm and it was never set properly. She has scars from burns and cuts, but the worst damage is not physical." "What do you mean?" Taemin asked. "She has been trained to expect pain," Dr. Hyjin explained. "Every time I touched her, she prepared for hurt. Someone taught her that kindness always comes with a price. Breaking that will take time." Taemin felt angry. He had seen many rescued beings, but something about this woman's situation made him especially upset. Maybe it was the intelligence in her eyes, or the way she carried herself, like she had once been someone important. His private facility was in a quiet part of the moon colony. It had comfortable rooms, a garden area, and places for beings to heal in peace. Taemin showed the woman to her room. "This is yours," he said. "The door locks from the inside. No one can come in unless you allow it. You are safe here." She looked around the room. It had a soft bed, a desk, a window that showed the earth below, and a small area for washing. It was simple but clean and comfortable. "Food will come free," times each day, Taemin continued. If you need anything, press this button and someone will come, but only if you want help. The woman sat on the edge of the bed. For the first time since he found her, some of the tension left her shoulders. What is your name? Taemin asked gently. She looked at him for a long time. Then, in her musical voice, she said, Yuna, Yuna, Taemin repeated. That is a beautiful name. I am happy to meet you, Yuna. Something flickered in her violet eyes. It might have been surprised that he remembered her name and used it with respect. Over the next few days, Taemin visited Yuna often. He brought her food and checked if she needed anything. Each time she seemed a little less afraid. But she still did not talk much. Dr. Hyjin worked with Yuna every day. During these sessions, they discovered something important. Yuna was not just any captive. She was highly educated and had once held an important position. She was a scholar, Dr. Hyjin told Taemin, and some kind of diplomat. She speaks 5 languages and knows about many different cultures. How did someone like that end up in a slave market? Taemin asked. I think she was captured during a diplomatic mission, Dr. Hyjin said. The traders probably knew exactly who she was. Educated beings sell for more money. This made Taemin even more angry. Taking anyone was wrong, but targeting diplomats and scholars was especially evil. These were people who work for peace and understanding between different worlds. Tae-min decided to learn more about Yuna's people. He spent hours reading about the Velari species. They were known for being peaceful and intelligent. Their skin could glow with different colors to show emotions and communicate. Right now, Yuna's skin barely glowed at all, which meant she was either very sick or very sad. He also learned about Velari customs. They valued respect, gentleness, and personal choice above almost everything else. They never forced others to do things against their will. Armed with this knowledge, Taemin changed how he interacted with Yuna. He always asked permission before entering her room. He explained everything he was going to do before he did it. He never touched her without asking first. Slowly, Yuna began to respond. Her skin started to show faint glows of different colors. Dr. Hyjin explained that this was a good sign. It meant Yuna was starting to feel emotions again instead of just fear. 1 week after her arrival, something important happened. A government official came to interview Yuna about her captivity. The man was loud and pushy. He wanted Yuna to answer questions even when she showed signs of being upset. The girl needs to tell us everything, the official demanded. We need details for our investigation. Her name is Yuna, Taemin said firmly, and she will answer questions when she is ready. Not before. This is a matter of galactic security, the official said. She does not get to choose when to cooperate. Yes, she does, Taemin replied. His voice was calm but strong. She has been through enough. We will not force her to do anything. The official argued more, but Taemin would not change his mind. Finally, the man left angry and empty-handed. Yuna had watched this whole conversation from her doorway. When the official was gone, she looked at Taemin with something new in her eyes. It was not fear or suspicion, it was gratitude. Thank you, she said quietly. You do not need to thank me, Taemin replied. You have the right to choose, always. That night, for the first time since her rescue, Yuna ate a full meal. Her skin glowed with soft blue light, which Dr. Hyjin said meant she was feeling hopeful. It was a small step, but it was the beginning of something important. Yuna was starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, she really was safe. And Taemin was starting to understand that helping her heal would be the most important mission of his life, but there was still a long way to go. Trust that had been broken so badly would take time to rebuild. Taemin was patient. He would wait as long as it took for Yuna to feel truly free again. 2 months passed at the moon colony. Yuna slowly began to change. The terrible thinness left her body as she ate regular meals. Her white hair grew longer and brighter. Most importantly, the silver patterns on her skin started to glow with soft colors more often. Tae-min learned that these glowing patterns were like words for Velari people. Different colors and movements meant different things. When Yuna was calm, her patterns glowed gentle blue. When she was thinking hard, they showed purple lines. When she was scared, they went almost dark. Dr. Hyjin built a special device that could make light patterns like Valari skin. She taught Taemin how to use it to say simple things in Yuna's language. The first time he used it to say, "Good morning," in her own way of speaking, Yuna's eyes opened wide with surprise. "You learned this for me?" she asked. "I wanted to speak with you in a way that felt comfortable," Taemin said. "Your language is beautiful." Yuna's skin glowed brighter than he had ever seen it. Dr. Hyjin told him later that bright glow meant joy. As Yuna felt safer, she began to tell them about her past. She had been a cultural attache on Velaris Prime, her home world. Her job was to help different species understand each other better. She studied how various peoples communicated and worked to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to conflicts. "I believed that all beings could learn to live in peace," she said one day as they sat in the garden area. "I thought if we just understood each other better, there would be no more wars or hatred. What changed your mind?" Taemin asked gently. Yuna was quiet for a long time. Her skin patterns shifted to sad colors. "I was captured during a diplomatic mission to the Outer Rim. We went to help settle a trade dispute. I thought we were safe because we carried diplomatic papers. I was wrong." She told him how pirates had attacked their ship. They killed her guards and took her because they knew educated Valari were valuable in slave markets. For 3 years, she was sold from one owner to another. Each time, she hoped someone would help her. Each time she was disappointed. The worst part was not the pain, she said. It was losing hope. After the first year, I stopped believing. Rescue would come. I stopped believing anyone cared. Taemin felt angry hearing about what she had suffered. But he also felt something else. He felt honored that she trusted him enough to share her story. "You were right to keep hoping," he said. "Even when it seemed impossible, hope brought you to us." "Hope brought you to me," Yuna corrected. "I had given up. You gave me hope back." As Yuna shared more about her past, Taemin found himself telling her about his own history. He explained why he became a rescue captain. 5 years ago, his younger sister Lee So-young had been taken by alien slavers while traveling to a research station. Despite searching everywhere, Taemin never found her. "I do not know if she is alive or dead," he admitted. "But I know there are people like her out there who need help. Every person I save might be someone else's sister or daughter or friend." Yuna listened to his story with careful attention. When he finished, she reached out and gently touched his hand. It was the first time she had willingly touched him. "Your sister was lucky to have someone who cared so much," she said. "Even if you could not save her, you have saved many others. That matters." Her touch was warm and sent a strange feeling through Taemin. He had spent so much time focusing on her healing that he had not noticed his own feelings changing. Looking at her now, seeing the strength that was returning to her eyes, he realized she had become very important to him, but he pushed those thoughts away. Yuna was still healing. She needed a protector and friend, not someone who might confuse. Her recovery with romantic feelings. As Yuna grew stronger, she began helping Dr. Hyjin with other rescued Valari who came to the facility. Her knowledge of Valari culture and customs made her an excellent translator and counselor. She could explain human intentions in ways that made sense to her people. "She has a gift for healing," Dr. Hyjin told Taemin. "Not just her own healing, but helping others heal too. Watching her work with the new arrivals is amazing." Taemin had noticed this too. Yuna seemed to bloom when she was helping others. Her skin glowed with confident colors, and she moved with the grace that had probably made her a good diplomat. One day, while Yuna was working with a newly rescued Valari child, Taemin realized something important. She was not just surviving anymore, she was living again. The broken person he had found in that cage was becoming whole. That evening, they walked together in the garden. Earth hung in the sky above them, blue and beautiful. Yuna stopped to look at it. "It is a lovely world," she said. "Very different from Velaris Prime, but lovely." "What is your homeworld like?" Taemin asked. Yuna's patterns glowed as she described. vast cities that grew like living trees reaching toward multiple colored suns. She told him about the singing crystals that Valari used for music, and the great libraries where all the knowledge of her people was stored. "Do you want to go back?" Taemin asked. The question hurt to ask, but he needed to know. Yuna was quiet. "For a long time, part of me does," she said finally. "I miss my home and my family, but part of me wants to stay here too. The work we do is important, and—" She stopped speaking, but her skin patterns showed something that made Taemin's heart beat faster. Dr. Haijin had taught him that particular pattern. It meant affection. "And?" he asked softly. "And I have found something here I did not expect to find," she said. "I have found people who care about me. Not for what I can do for them, but just for who I am." They looked at each other in the garden light. Something had changed between them over these months. It had happened so slowly that neither had noticed until now. "Yuna," Taemin began, but she held up her hand. "I know," she said. "I feel it too. But I am still learning how to trust my own feelings again. Can we take this slowly?" "As slowly as you need," Taemin promised. "We have time." That night, Yuna's room glowed with soft, happy light patterns for hours. For the first time in years, she was thinking about the future instead of just surviving the present. And for the first time ever, that future included love. Life at the moon colony had become peaceful. Yuna was helping more rescued beings every day. Her relationship with Taemin was growing stronger, built on trust and shared understanding. Then Commander Kim Jae-wook arrived and everything changed. The commander was a tall man with cold eyes and no patience for gentle approaches. He represented Human High Command, the military organization that controlled rescue operations across the galaxy. He had come with orders that would shatter the peace Yuna had finally found. "We need her testimony for the trial," Commander Kim told Taemin in his office. "The Nexus 7 case goes to court in 6 weeks. She is our best witness against the entire trafficking network." "She is not ready," Taemin said firmly. "Testifying would mean reliving her trauma in front of hundreds of people. It could destroy all the progress she has made." "That is not our concern," the commander replied. "We have a chance to shut down the biggest slave trading operation in this sector. Her testimony is crucial. And if it breaks her mind, if it sends her back to the dark place she came from?" Commander Kim's face showed no emotion. "Then that is a sacrifice for the greater good. How many others will be saved if we stop this network?" Taemin wanted to argue more, but he knew the commander was right about one thing. The trial could save thousands of future victims. But asking Yuna to sacrifice her healing for others seemed wrong. When Taemin told Yuna about the trial, her reaction was immediate and terrible. Her skin patterns went completely dark, something that only happened when Valari were in extreme distress. She began shaking and could not catch her breath. "I cannot," she whispered. "I cannot face them again. Even in a courtroom, even with protection, I cannot." Dr. Haijin had to give Yuna medicine to calm her panic attack. For 3 days afterward, Yuna barely spoke to anyone. She stopped eating regular meals and her skin stayed dim and colorless. "This is exactly what I was afraid of," Dr. Haijin told Taemin. "Just the idea of testifying has set her back weeks. If we force her to actually do it?" "We will not force her," Taemin said. But even as he said it, he knew the decision might not be his to make. Commander Kim was not finished with his demands. He brought in Dr. Choi Minho, a government specialist, who studied the minds of aliens. Dr. Choi's job was to evaluate whether Yuna was mentally fit to testify. Dr. Choi was different from Dr. Haijin, where Haijin was gentle and patient. Dr. Choi was clinical and cold. He asked Yuna hard questions about her captivity and watched her reactions like she was a science experiment. "Interesting," Dr. Choi said after his evaluation. "The subject shows classic signs of trauma bonding with her rescuer. Her attachment to Captain Lee may actually be preventing proper psychological recovery." "What does that mean?" Taemin demanded. "It means her dependence on you might be unhealthy," Dr. Choi explained. "She needs to face her trauma alone to truly heal. Your protection might be keeping her weak." Taemin felt like he had been slapped. That is not true. She is stronger now than when we found her. Physically, yes. But emotionally, she has transferred her dependence from her captors to you. She needs to learn independence. Dr. Haijin disagreed strongly with Dr. Choi's assessment. Healing happens through connection, not isolation, she argued. Yuna has made amazing progress because she feels safe and cared for. But Dr. Choi had the backing of high command. His opinion carried more weight than Dr. Haijin's. Suddenly, Taemin found himself fighting not just for Yuna's right to refuse testimony, but for his right to continue helping her. The situation became more dangerous when intelligence reports revealed that members of the trafficking network had escaped capture. They knew Yuna would be testifying and were planning to silence her permanently. We have identified at least 3 assassination teams, Commander Kim told Taemin. They want her dead before the trial. Then we protect her, Taemin said immediately. The best protection is to move her to a secure military facility, the commander replied. Somewhere with proper defenses. You mean somewhere away from me? Taemin understood. That would be best for everyone. Taemin felt trapped. If he kept fighting for Yuna's right to choose, he might be putting her in danger. If he let them take her to a military prison disguised as protection, she might lose all the progress she had made. That night he sat with Yuna in the garden. She had been quiet all day, thinking about the terrible choice she faced. What do you want to do? Taemin asked gently. I want to help, she said softly. If my testimony can stop others from suffering like I did, then I should give it. But I am scared, Taemin. I am so scared. You do not have to be brave for anyone else, he told her. You have already been braver than anyone should have to. Yuna's skin patterns showed swirling colors of fear and determination mixed together. Maybe Dr. Choi is right. Maybe I have been depending on you too much. Maybe I need to face this alone to prove I am truly free. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. I need to prove it to myself. The next morning, Yuna told Commander Kim she would testify, but she had conditions. She wanted Dr. Haijin to travel with her. She wanted to review her testimony in advance. And she wanted Taemin to provide security during the trial. Captain Lee will not be assigned to your security detail, Commander Kim said. He is too emotionally involved. Then I do not testify. Yuna replied calmly. It was the first time since her rescue that Yuna had made demands instead of requests. Taemin felt proud of her strength. Even though he was worried about what the trial would cost her. Commander Kim finally agreed to her conditions. Preparations for the trial began immediately. But as they worked on security arrangements and legal strategies, Taemin could not shake the feeling that something bad was coming. 3 days before they were scheduled to leave for the trial, his fears came true. Assassins attacked the moon colony. The attack came at night when most people were sleeping. Taemin woke to alarms and immediately ran to Yuna's room. He found her pressed against the wall, her skin dark with terror. Stay with me, he told her as explosions echoed through the facility. The battle lasted 2 hours. Taemin's security team fought hard against the assassins, but the attackers were well-trained and well-armed. Several of Taemin's people were hurt before they finally drove the assassins away. When it was over, Yuna sat in the medical bay watching Dr. Haijin treat the wounded. Her skin patterns showed something Taemin had never seen before. Anger. They will never stop, she said quietly. As long as I live, they will keep trying to kill me. And other people will get hurt protecting me. We will keep you safe, Taemin. Promised. No, Yuna said with new firmness in her voice. I will keep myself safe. I will testify at this trial and help destroy their network. But after that, I need to decide what kind of life I want to live. Taemin realized that the scared, broken woman he had rescued was truly gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone ready to fight for herself and others. He was proud of her transformation, but he was also afraid of what her new strength might mean for their relationship. The trial was only 3 days away. Everything would change after that. The trial took place on Centauri Station, the biggest legal center in this part of the galaxy. Representatives from dozens of worlds came to watch. The case had become famous across known space. Everyone wanted to see if the trafficking network would finally be brought to justice. Yuna arrived 3 days before the trial began. Taemin and his security team surrounded her as they moved through the station. Even with protection, she could feel hundreds of eyes watching her. News reporters tried to ask her questions. Legal experts wanted to interview her. Everyone seemed to think they had a right to her story. "I can handle this," she told Taemin when they reached their secure quarters. But her skin pattern showed. She was nervous. "You do not have to handle it alone," he replied. Prosecutor Shin Dae-yoon met with Yuna to prepare her testimony. She was a smart woman who had spent years fighting crimes against sentient beings. She understood what Yuna had suffered and wanted to present her story in the most powerful way possible. "The defense lawyers will try to make you look unreliable," Prosecutor Shin warned. "They will say your memory is bad because of trauma. They will say you have reasons to lie." "What reasons would I have to lie?" Yuna asked. "They might suggest you want attention or money, or that you are angry at all traitors, not just the criminals." Yuna practiced her testimony for hours each day. She had to remember terrible details about her captivity. Each time she told the story, her skin grew darker and she needed time to recover. Taemin stayed close during these sessions. He could not help with the legal preparation, but he could offer comfort when the memories became too painful. "I keep thinking about the other captives who did not survive," Yuna told him one evening. "Some died from sickness, others gave up and stopped eating. A few tried to escape and were killed as examples to the rest of us." "Their stories will be told through your voice," Taemin said. "You are speaking for all of them." "That makes it harder, not easier," Yuna replied. "What if I say something wrong? What if my testimony is not enough to convict them? Then we try again. We keep fighting until we win." The trial began on a Monday morning. The courtroom was huge, with seats for over 1,000 observers. Cameras broadcast the proceedings to worlds across the galaxy. Yuna had never seen so many beings in one place. The defendants sat at a long table surrounded by their lawyers. Yuna recognized some of them. There was Rexel Vorth, the Zelonian who had owned her for 8 months. Next to him sat Captain Morak, the pirate who had first captured her diplomatic ship. Seeing them in person made her feel sick, but she forced herself to stay calm. The prosecution presented their case first. They showed evidence of the trafficking network's operations. They displayed records of sales and purchases. They proved that this group had sold over 10,000 sentient beings. In the past 5 years, when it came time for Yuna to testify, the entire courtroom fell silent. She walked to the witness stand with steady steps, though her skin patterns betrayed her nervousness. Taemin sat in the front row where she could see him if she needed strength. Prosecutor Shin asked Yuna to tell her story. Starting from her capture, Yuna described 3 years of horror. She spoke clearly and calmly about the conditions in various holding facilities. She explained how captives were trained to obey through pain and fear. She detailed the auction process where beings were sold like objects. Her testimony lasted 4 hours. During that time, the courtroom was completely quiet except for her voice. Many observers were crying by the time she finished. Even some of the defendants looked uncomfortable. Then came the defense cross-examination. The defense lawyers attacked her testimony from every angle they could think of. They questioned her memory. They suggested she was lying for attention. They implied that her relationship with Taemin made her unreliable. "Is it not true that you have formed a romantic attachment to Captain Lee?" the lead defense lawyer asked. "That has nothing to do with what happened to me in captivity," Yuna replied firmly. "Does it not? You were rescued by a human. Now you claim to love a human. Perhaps you are saying what you think humans want to hear." Yuna's skin patterns flashed angry red before she controlled them. "My feelings for Captain Lee exist because he treated me with kindness and respect. That does not change the facts about my captivity. Or perhaps," the lawyer continued, "your attachment to your rescuer has confused your memories. Perhaps you are not as reliable a witness as you appear." Prosecutor Shin stood up. "Objection. The witness's personal relationships do not affect The truth of her testimony. On the contrary, the defense lawyer said. This case is built on emotion, not facts. The witness has every reason to tell a story that makes her captors look as evil as possible. Yuna had heard enough. She leaned forward and spoke directly to the lawyer. Do you think I wanted to be here? Do you think I enjoy reliving the worst years of my life in front of thousands of strangers? I am here because what happened to me was real, and it was wrong, and it continues to happen to others. My personal feelings do not change those facts. The courtroom erupted in applause. The judge had to call for order. Even the defense lawyer looked shaken by Yuna's response, but the attacks on her testimony were not over. The defense lawyers spent 2 more days trying to discredit her. They brought in experts who questioned her mental state. They suggested that trauma had made her memories unreliable. Through it all, Yuna remained strong. She answered every question honestly. When she did not remember something clearly, she said so. When she was certain about facts, she stated them firmly. On the final day of testimony, something unexpected happened. The defense lawyer made a mistake. He suggested that Yuna's relationship with Taemin proved she could not be trusted to tell the truth about any humans. Prosecutor Shin saw her opportunity. So, you are saying that because Ms. Yuna has learned to trust again, because she has recovered enough to form healthy relationships, that makes her less credible? I am saying her judgment is compromised. I see. So in your opinion, the ideal witness would be someone who remained broken and unable to form connections with others? The defense lawyer realized his error too late. That is not what I meant, but that is what you said. You argue that Ms. Yuna's recovery, her ability to heal and trust again, somehow makes her testimony worthless. You want the court to believe that only a permanently damaged person can tell the truth about trafficking. Prosecutor Shin turned to face the jury. I would argue the opposite. Ms. Yuna's recovery proves the strength of the sentient spirit. Her ability to heal and love again, despite what was done to her, makes her testimony more powerful, not less. The prosecution's closing argument used Yuna's strength as proof of the trafficking network's crimes. If someone as broken as she had been could recover and become whole again, it showed how much damage the traffickers had done. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, they found all defendants guilty on all charges. The trafficking network that had operated for decades was finally destroyed. As the verdicts were read, Yuna felt something she had not experienced in years. True justice. But more than that, she felt proud of herself. She had faced her greatest fears and won. After the trial, Yuna faced a new choice. The Villari Council had offered her a position as Earth's first Villari cultural ambassador. It would mean staying on Earth permanently, working to build understanding between humans and her people. What do you want to do? Taemin asked her that evening. I want to build something good from what happened to me, she said. I want to make sure humans and Villari understand each other better, so this kind of thing happens less often. And personally? What do you want for yourself? Yuna looked at him with eyes that no longer held pain or fear. I want to see where this leads, she said, gesturing between them. I want to find out what love looks like when both people are free to choose it. Taemin smiled. I would like that too. The trial was over, but their real story was just beginning. 6 months after the trial, Yuna stood in her new office looking out at the earth below. The Villari embassy was beautiful, with curved walls that seemed to grow like living trees and crystal windows that split sunlight into rainbow colors. Human and Villari architects had worked together to create something that honored both cultures. As Earth's first Villari ambassador, Yuna had many responsibilities. She helped human businesses understand Villari customs before trading missions. She worked with universities to set up exchange programs. She advised the government on policies that affected both species, but her most important work was with trafficking survivors. The foundation she and Taemin had created together helped beings from all worlds heal from their experiences and build new lives. Taemin's role had changed too. He was no longer just a rescue captain. As director of the Survivor Recovery Foundation, he organized missions to find and help victims of trafficking. He also trained other rescue teams, sharing the lessons he had learned about treating survivors with respect and patience. Their personal relationship had grown stronger during these months. They had taken things slowly, letting trust and love develop naturally. Yuna had needed time to learn the difference between gratitude and genuine affection. Taemin had needed to understand that his protective feelings could grow into something deeper without becoming controlling. Now they worked as partners in every sense. They shared meals, shared dreams, and shared the mission of helping others find freedom. On this particular morning, Yuna was preparing for an important meeting. Representatives from 12 different worlds were coming to discuss new anti-trafficking laws. Her testimony at the trial had inspired governments across the galaxy to take stronger action against slavery. Nervous? Taemin asked as he brought her morning tea. Excited, Yuna corrected. Her skin patterns glowed with confident gold colors. A year ago, I could barely speak to one person. Now, I am about to address delegates from 12 worlds. You have come a long way. We have come a long way, she said, touching his hand gently. The meeting went well. Yuna's combination of personal experience and diplomatic training made her an effective speaker. She could explain the real impact of trafficking in ways that made politicians understand why new laws were necessary. During lunch break, Ambassador Xin Wei from Earth's government approached her. The delegates are very impressed with your presentation, he said. Several of them want to set up similar foundations on their own worlds. That would be wonderful, Yuna replied. The more places survivors can go for help, the better. There is something else. The Galactic Council is considering creating a new position, Special Coordinator for Anti-Trafficking Efforts. They want someone who understands the issue from multiple perspectives. Yuna understood what he was suggesting. You think they might offer me the position? I think you would be perfect for it. You have lived experience, diplomatic training, and you have proven you can work with different species. It was an honor to be considered for such an important role, but it would also mean traveling constantly, spending months at a time away from Earth, away from Tae-Min. That evening, she discussed the possibility with him as they walked through the embassy gardens. Bioluminescent plants from her homeworld grew alongside earth flowers, creating a beautiful mixture of colors in the twilight. It sounds like an amazing opportunity, Taemin said when she told him about the potential offer. It would mean being away for long periods, Yuna pointed out. I know. Would you mind? Would it hurt our relationship? Taemin stopped walking and turned to face her. Yuna, I fell in love with your strength and your passion for helping others. I would not want you to give up important work for me. And I would not want to lose you for work, she replied. They stood quietly in the garden, thinking about their options. Finally, Taemin spoke again. What if we found a way to make both things work? What do you mean? The Foundation is growing. We need people in different sectors of the galaxy. Maybe some of my work could be mobile too. Yuna's patterns brightened as she understood his idea. You would travel with me sometimes? When possible. And when we were apart, we would have something important to come back to. It was a good solution, but it would require trust and commitment from both of them. They would have to believe their relationship was strong enough to survive time apart. And busy schedules. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council officially offered Yuna the coordinator position. She accepted, with the understanding that she would keep her role as Earth's Valari ambassador and continue her Foundation work. Tae-Min reorganized his rescue operations to include mobile units that could work in different parts of the galaxy. It meant more travel for him too, but it also meant new opportunities to help survivors across many worlds. As they planned these changes, they also planned something else, their bonding ceremony. Valari bonding was different from human marriage, but the intentions were the same. Two beings promised to share their lives and support each other through good times and bad. Yuna wanted to blend Valari and human traditions in their ceremony. The celebration took place in the embassy gardens. On a warm spring evening, representatives from dozens of worlds attended, including many survivors who had been helped by their foundation. Dr. Hyjin stood as Taemin's witness, while Commander Kim Jae-wook surprised everyone by giving a speech about the power of love. To heal old wounds, Yuna wore traditional Valari ceremonial robes that shimmered with changing colors. Taemin wore formal human dress but carried a crystal from Velaris Prime that Yuna had given him. When they exchanged vows, her skin glowed so brightly that the entire garden seemed to fill with soft light. "When I found you in that cage," Taemin said during his vows, "I thought I was saving your life. I did not know you would save mine too. You gave me back my freedom," Yuna replied. "Now I choose to share that freedom with you." After the ceremony, they danced under the stars. Human music mixed with Valari songs, creating something beautiful and new. Survivors who had seemed broken beyond repair laughed and celebrated with beings who had never known captivity. It was proof that healing was possible, and that different worlds could come together in peace. Dr. Hyjin watched the celebration with satisfaction. In her final report about Yuna's case, she had written, "The subject shows complete recovery from trauma-related symptoms. She has not only healed from her experiences, but has transformed them into strength that helps others heal." Her relationship with Captain Lee demonstrates healthy attachment and mutual support. This case proves that with proper care, patience, and respect for individual choice, even the most severe trauma can be overcome. As the evening ended, Yuna and Taemin stood together looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there were other captives waiting for rescue. There were survivors struggling to rebuild their lives. There were people who had given up hope of ever being free. "Ready for our next mission?" Taemin asked. "Ready," Yuna answered, her skin glowing with determination and joy. They had found love in the darkest circumstances. Now they would use that love to bring light to others who still lived in darkness. Their story had begun with rescue, but it would continue with hope, healing, and the unshakable belief that every sentient being deserved freedom and the chance to love. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but they would face them together. And wherever their work took them, they would carry with them the knowledge that even the most broken spirits could heal, and that love could grow in the most unexpected places. Their wedding night ended with promises of tomorrow and tomorrows, filled with purpose. The rescued had become the rescuers, and their love had become a beacon for others to follow toward freedom.